Where the closing arguments go and then the jury deliberations. John, thanks for the update. Appreciate it. Jillian?
My pleasure.
All right, let's bring in criminal defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh now. Mark, thanks for being with us. So the judge today allowed those jurists to travel about 40 minutes to that Colleton County property, the crime scene where the Murdaughs lived. These kinds of viewings of crime scene properties, as I understand it, are always fraught with a lot of risk for the defense. We heard Nancy Grace on last hour talking about the risks of mistrial. It only takes one guy with a sign standing somewhere along the roadway to derail this entire thing. How do you think it went today?
Well, visiting the crime scene certainly pales in comparison on the risk factor to putting your client on the stand. So they're taking a lot of risks because they have to. I mean, when you get caught in a brutal lie like you weren't at the crime scene and then, oopsie, there's a video that shows that you were, you got to take some risks. I think that this helps the defense. They needed to go out there. Whatever the jurors were envisioning, I assure you, it wasn't the same as what they saw. That's just normal trial work. You know, you can only paint a certain picture and then you go out there, even if you've seen photographs. Well, wait, this is different. And that helps the defense because the state has a burden of proof.
So let's play a little bit about what Prosecutor Creighton Waters said earlier today about the fact that when you take a look at what happened there and the potential suspects, it really only comes down to one person. That's Alex Murdaugh. Here's how he put it.
After an exhaustive investigation, there is only one person who had the motive, who had the opportunity to commit these crimes, and also whose guilty conduct after these crimes betrays him. Defendant is a person where his own storm would actually mean consequences for Maggie and Paul and consequences for those who trusted him. And that person is the defendant, Richard Alexander Murdaugh.
Only one person had the motive, the means, the opportunity, etc., to commit these crimes. However, there's no blood, there's no DNA, there's a little bit of gunshot residue, but that would be expected given the circumstances, and there are no murder weapons. So how do you pin it on him?
Right. Other than that, how was the play, Ms. Lincoln? Yeah, you know, there's problems. Listen, kudos to the prosecutor for making that necessary and compelling argument. He's the only one. But wait a second. In recent time, literally a couple days ago, there was an expert for the defense who said the evidence was consistent with two shooters. Now, they don't even have to believe that. They just have to entertain it. And if that's even possible, it blows the state's theory out of the water. And also, just like you said, for every action, there's a reaction. These people have watched Dateline Murder Mystery. They've studied CSI. They know that when you shoot a gun at close range, most likely you're going to be covered with items like blood, tissue, etc. And he wasn't. That is a problem that they must hammer home on their closing argument to overcome their challenges.
Mark, to that point, yesterday the jurors saw this kind of very dramatic reenactment of the defense's theory, or whatever you call it, you know, that two people committed these murders with two different murder weapons. Was that effective?
You got to ask the jurors. Did I think it was? Sure.
Yeah.
Because I think he's, you know, full of it and it's malarkey, but that's just my opinion. Who cares what I think? Those jurors are individual free spirits. No one knows what they're really thinking. All these talking heads who say, I know how the verdict's going to go, that presupposes that they know what they're thinking. I've been doing trial work for 30 years in spite of my youthful appearance, and I know that you never know what those jurors are thinking. And a lot of them hold back what they're feeling, even during jury selection. So did that work for them? I don't know, but if one of them thinks it resonated, that's enough to prevent a conviction, which would be a verdict, I think, in favor of the defense.
So, well, I know that you really can't get inside the minds of the juror, but if you were on a jury yourself, if you heard a defendant say, I lied about everything. I lied about not being there. I lied about what I was doing. I lied about not stealing money from all of my clients and my colleagues. But I didn't lie when I said I didn't kill my wife and son. I mean, can you separate all of those things, or is a liar a liar?
No, I can. In other words, all right, he'd start off with 2.5 strikes, but not 3 strikes, right? He is a liar. He's a thief. he is a drug addict, but that's not what he's on trial for. What I would hammer if I'm the prosecutors is if not him, who are we talking about? Who are these phantom people that knew they'd be in the kennel, that didn't show up with weapons, that somehow now are paying them back for something that happened 4 years ago? Is that reasonable? Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible. Aliens could have done it. But is it reasonable? And the answer is no.
Mark, we got to leave it there with you, but thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, so hope to see you back later on today. So we're in a lunch break now as the prosecutor gets underway.